Anthony Edwards getting some heat for the comments that we talked about last pod. From one of the greatest Lakers of all time, one of the greatest players of all time, Magic Johnson. All right. Magic Johnson goes off on Ant.
Anthony Edwards just said the other day that there really wasn't any skilled players in the NBA back in the day outside of Michael Jordan. That's what he said. Your response to that, Irvin Magic Johnson?
Well, you know, I don't never respond to a guy that's never won a championship. There's not nothing to really say. He didn't win a college championship. I don't know if he even won a high school championship. So,
I take her hot.
Hot take. I gotta go first here because this is easy, man. You've heard like the saying, right message, wrong messenger. Yeah, this is kind of fucked up. This is like the perfect messenger to say this. Like you can't. What are you gonna say to Magic Johnson? The dude came in as a rookie and won a championship. At age 23, he had 2 of them. Y'all know I love Ant. Ant's one of my favorite players right now. Definitely have like I don't have a nostalgia act towards Magic Johnson. I definitely care about Anthony Edwards as a basketball player in the future more. But dog, hey man. That he is the nigga to have this take. Like literally, if Magic Johnson saying this cannot be classified as a hot take, then nobody can. So if that's the argument, I hear it. But yeah, this is like the perfect guy to say this and even have this absurd standard because he did it. So
hold on, wait. I'm triggering my trap card.
Oh Lord.
Sage, I have a question. Isn't this a form of gatekeeping?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is gatekeeping. However, he's talking to the player. So when we talk about gatekeeping, we're talking about like Kevin Durant being like, hey, podcast boy, shut up. Or a lower level athlete on a podcast, don't say shit, da. But Anthony Edwards kind of like tried to jump into the wrong neighborhood. And it was like, what the fuck are you doing here, dude? It's kind of like the other way around. I'm not saying it the way that I want to say it, but it's like Ant started it, so it's a little different in that regard. And then even if that's still gatekeeping, LOLs. For me, it's like at the end of the day, this is player on player violence. It's not like a podcaster thing. It's not like a retired player thing necessarily. Magic Johnson has like every single right to say this. I don't think he's saying that Anthony Edwards can't have this opinion, but I definitely can argue Magic Johnson of all people on the planet can be like, okay. Like, and that's kind of what it comes off as. I don't think he comes off as someone that just called Anthony Edwards an idiot. You could argue it's heavily implied, but he definitely is like, what the fuck? I mean, win a championship then, I guess. I don't know if I'm so unskilled, then get it done.
It's definitely heavily implied, but
yeah, it's heavily implied. So like, you know what I'm saying? But like, he didn't say it, so it's definitely implied though. It's heavily implied.
This only is hot ass if Ant can prove he won some type of champion. Not even then, because I mean, if he did win a high school championship, cool. But yeah, you didn't win in college, buddy. You damn sure ain't won yet. So I would say a hot take. I love the clapback. That was great. Because what is Ant gonna say now? Oh, just wait on me then. Like, all right, buddy. Yep. Now you're in the Tatum lane.
Yeah, even if I'm a hypocrite, if we must go there, let's say, chat. Oh my God, my life points. Bezos got me. It's just like anomaly. This is like an anomaly of all the gatekeeping things. Like this is the full counter, Bezos. This is the guy with the Sharingan. This is the guy with pot of greed. Like, what do you say about Magic Johnson saying, hey, bro, if I'm not skilled, get it done? And but he's 23. This nigga did it at 23 twice. What do you he's literally the final boss. You called the wrong guy's card. You pulled the wrong guy's card.
All I'm saying is if you're against gatekeeping, this is a form of gatekeeping. However, if you are pro gatekeeping, this is what me and Sage have been telling y'all all this time. Like, what there is a line where it's like, all right, So I guess because Ant hasn't won a championship and hasn't done all of this, now we can't talk ball with Magic Johnson because they're not on the same level and haven't played at certain heights. Even though they played in the same NBA, obviously right now Magic is at this level and Ant's at this level. So why can Ant talk to a guy at this level and that whole cycle just continues? Ultimately I'm for always attacking the point, but hey, if you want to disrespect someone's era and effectively their accomplishments, and that's the way he wants to clap back, I also don't have a problem with it. So,
can I just say, this Ant's response will tell me what kind of season he's gonna have.
Absolutely.
Because if Ant stands on his nuts, stands 10 toes down, all right, cool. You won in the era of unskilled niggas. If Ant does that, he's top 3 next year. He is a top 3 player going into next year, and he has hit the threshold, buddy. If Ant claps back crazy, I'll love it. But if he hits hey man, OG right. All right, buddy, enjoy top 15. Enjoy being top 15.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have a hard time. It's of a similar cloth, but I can't put my finger on it right now. Comment section, help me out, or just add on to the gatekeep ideology. It's hard for me to call this gatekeeping because it seems like the context is different. Like Anthony Edwards being a superstar talent, a young superstar, telling an entire generation, nobody but one guy was skilled. For that said Hall of Fame point guard, said revered skilled point guard to respond, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a gatekeeping conversation, more so than Magic kind of like shrugging them off. And I know shrugging them off, gatekeeping seems of similar. I'm literally just failing to describe why, but it just doesn't feel the same as like many other gatekeeping conversations we've had in the past.
And I would say from somebody like Ant, now looking at it, I've had time to really think about it, chat, for a second. Ant probably won't respond. Anthony Edwards has self-admittedly said he can't even throw alley-oops, so he can't pass himself. So if there's one thing, like, for anyone to say something to him, it's the passing nigga. Yeah, I don't think he's on the camera.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I don't think Ant's gonna care.
Like, it's the worst person. Like the worst person to respond to Anthony Edwards would be Magic Johnson.
He's like, nigga, I don't care about passing, and this dime thrower is gonna tell me, oh yeah, we were skilled. Sure, all right, get a bucket.
Yo, if Magic goes on TikTok and stitches, ain't this you? And then it's just a bunch of highlights of Magic Johnson throwing lobs, bro.
Hey,
that would be legendary.
Nah, I love it though. I will say that Anna's been in the fire on this podcast. Clips like this definitely don't help him in the public, but I love it. To be honest, I'm with Damo. I hope he stands 10 toes. We've missed this in the NBA. I don't care what nobody says. It's been apparent that Anthony Edwards has been a slice of life, fresh new personality for the NBA. Ja Morant, he would have been that, but he keeps getting, suspended stuff.
Also, Magic, my bad Ant wasn't gifted Kareem rookie. It's
Hey, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could stand 10 toes, and I hope he does that.
And we give you so much ammo. Just shoot back, please.
And if you really want to go low, now let me chill.
Oh, you do that, they actually gonna have to smoke for that nigga. They're gonna be like, all right, bro.
Whoa, relax. This is from the show. Part of the show. Meezy, he says, as long as Ant and his generation is fine with people saying this 40 years later, then I'm okay with this message. I think every era says this, bro. I ain't gonna lie. The more you look back at even like the older era, like how Michael Jordan was talking about the 60s, like Michael Jordan was talking shit about Will and Bill Russell in the I think it was the 50th top 50 anniversary weekend. Like he was talking shit to them back then, and Will essentially had the same comeback that Magic has now. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like ultimately this is just a circle of life. I think it gets proven every single day that whatever era you're a part of, you are just gonna cape for it as much as you can because that's your live experience, And you are always gonna say you were in the best era.
I think the one time the era specific take that has died down has been specifically and y'all know I'm from the community, specifically, Cartoon Network cartoons from anything outside of today. I think literally that's the only argument where I've seen the newer generation be like, yeah, this is ass. Because like, what are they going to do? Throw Teen Titans Go in your face? It's like MTV ridiculousness in cartoon version. But outside of that, no, it's apparent in music, it's apparent in football, it's apparent in basketball, it's apparent in fucking society. Even everything that is current is the best generation for that said generation, or 5 years ago was prime. Like everybody was pointing to 2016 shoulder rolling. Guarantee you 5 years from now people are going to get nostalgic for like 2022 or something after the panty or some shit like that, bro.
I disagree wholeheartedly, at least in terms of the NBA. Everything else, hey, niggas is cooking. But
really?
In terms of the NBA, I think it's access to film and how much people are used to watching older games. I think the fact that Michael Jordan growing up could not watch a lot of 60s basketball is whatever was accessible at that time on tape delay or whatever it was. And even in the 80s, people weren't able to just watch as much basketball as we're able to watch now. So going forward, it's going to be a bigger sample size of games and a better selection of players. Now, unless the game evolves into, I don't know, mutants are running around on the court doing stuff that just we cannot perceive, I don't know where else the game can go to where people are going to criticize the state of the game and the players. Like in 40 years, what has to happen to basketball for people to look at this version of basketball and say, yeah, them guys, they weren't really skilled. What is skill in 40 years at that point? I don't know how much further the game can evolve into the point to where people are saying from 2013 to now was just, oh my God, like the lack of players and ability, like the stuff that people can say about the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, hell, even the early 2000s. I find it very difficult for people going on in 2045 to be able to say that now about 2015 on.
You triggered my trap card again.
I think,
Whoa.
hold on.
Whoa. Oh shit. Didn't we talk about this last pod when friend of the show Eli said we are at the end game of basketball evolution? But now we are all of a sudden?
Wait,
you said no.
Answer? And what was the reason I said no?
Because some unforeseeable thing is gonna happen.
See, and you've triggered my trap card.
So now
buddy.
that just not gonna exist?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah. Now my trap card.
Now I see the future.
Now my trap card is triggered.
Wise White Dragon versus Dark Magician. What do I do, guys?
Look, fuck. You know what I thought of midway through that take? We talked about this last week, and I remember what I said. It was heavily implied, and I even said the rule changes, and in terms of where the game can grow, cool. I think the game can grow to unforeseen things. In terms of player skill, the skill of the players, we were talking about rule changes at the 4-point line, all types of other things to grow the game. But in terms of player skill, what's really changing?
That's not what the conversation was about. The question was, are we at the end of basketball evolution?
Come on, bro. And I'm telling you what my answer was.
This is crazy.
If you ain't got the footage, man, you're lying.
Well, I'm going to stay out of that past debate. I'm going to say for me in regards to what Omar was saying, oh, no, absolutely. I don't know how that's not the trend there. I vividly remember some video where Wilt went at Kareem back. I think me and Bezos did a video about Wilt and Kareem. Wilt and Kareem had issues, and then Wilt and who was it? Bill Russell. They were talking about Michael Jordan and things like that. Talking about they made rules for you or some shit like that. And then Michael Jordan obviously has his gripes with players of this generation, whether it's like LeBron or anything like that. If Michael Jordan himself isn't good enough for you, obviously the shit Scottie Pippen has said has trended. I think it's definitely a cycle that's going to continue there. But in regards to with the debate y'all just had, hey man, who really watched the pod?
Now let me ask y'all this though. Do y'all think like our generation of basketball watchers is progressive enough?
Fuck
so that
no.
in 30, 40 years, it's going to no. I mean, evolution is a thing now.
Fuck
Y'all
no.
are
These,
better.
these
Yes.
niggas have the access to be progressive enough. Absolutely. Damo, if there was one good point he made, it's that of all generations, the one with the latest technology, the one that has the ability to do the most research by design, can hypothetically do these things. But where I think Damo respectfully is being absurdly disingenuous is to act like these things won't be used for insane agenda pushes. Fuck no, they ain't on that shit.
I
Hell
mean,
no.
hey man, what they do with the footage is what they do with the footage. Hey, it is what it is.
Hell
What I
no.
will say though, yes, I do think what us being the generation that can teach future generations a different way to look at the game and influence the future generation to do certain things. I think that's going to be a part of why they're not going to be able to say that about our generation. When we are the chill towns of the world and we're able to sit there and realistically be like, well, I'm not gonna lie. James Harden the fourth is better than his better than his granddaddy. I don't know what to say. I think we will be able to say that because of the type of basketball that we're seeing, how open we are just as a generation. I feel like it would be a lot different than when our grandparents, Wilt is better than Dwight. There's no competition, no comparison. Like I remember being my granddad and he's telling me Dave Bing is so much better than Amari Stoudemire. I'm like, why? No, he's not, Pop. Stop. Wes Unseld was the GOAT. That was the GOAT, Wes Unseld. No, it's not. We're not going to do that. And if you are going to be a person that when you are a grandfather, when you are an unk for real, when you're 50, if you're still holding on to 2019 James Harden, bro, like, all right, you're the problem. You're a part of the problem.
I think another thing that we ain't thinking about, because I definitely think these niggas gonna use their powers for evil more than good. Absolutely. That's not a conversation. But more so, I think that's another thing. The Gramps Damo, they're gonna talk about those players because they're Gramps, they're unks. They not gonna sit there and pull up Basketball Reference at 50. Now, if you built Diff, if Chilltown built Diff, if whatever chatter comment section nigga think they're built Diff, fine. Majority of these niggas at the barbecue when nephew pull up talking about how James Harden III is the greatest point guard ever, they're gonna be like, yo, they not even gonna bring up Curry. They're gonna be like, you don't know about that boy John Wall. Yeah, y'all don't know about that boy All NBA shot blocker. Y'all think about players like Dwayne Wade from way back in 2000. I'm telling you, in like 2017, it's this boy from DC. Man, like it's gonna be those niche ass players. They're not gonna sit there and bore you to death about Steph Curry and KD and LeBron all day because they're trying to show how stacked their generation was. They're fucking old.
I do think if there's one thing that they could add into the game that would legitimately fuck up our perceptions and would like make us cape about our generation compared to the future and how they play, if they legitimately had a 4-point line or like
GG's.
a 4-point shot in the game,
Yeah,
and we're having all these debates of like trying to contextualize the 4-point line to today's era and the fact that Steph Curry didn't have a 4-point line, but this dude is shooting like 34% from 4. 34% from 4. What the fuck?
You ready for what's really gonna happen though? And I meant to say it. What's gonna happen is 50, 40, 90 and absurd percentages are gonna get real normal. There's gonna be a point where 50% 3-point shooting is gonna be a thing. If we had to take a wild guess, it's gonna be some shit like 50, 40, 90. I mean, why the fuck was this some elite class? These niggas were not skilled. These niggas were barely shooting above 38% from 3. Trash. It's gonna be some shit like that.
I think if they add the 4-point line, because with our game now, we have the stats to where they measure, okay, shots took at 30 feet specifically, 35 feet beyond specifically. I mean, yeah, if they're gonna start, if great nephew starts arguing with me 4-point efficiency, hey, I'm cooked. I don't know what to tell you. Hey man, but I feel like we will be progressive enough as a generation to be like, all right, James Harden V is shooting 42% from the 4-point line. Even Steph Curry only shot 33% from this distance. Like I think
you say that now, man.
You be so because I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead. Finish.
I'm just saying. I don't know about y'all. I can just speak for myself. And as of now, even when I get older, because I'm looking back at the stuff that I cherish as a kid and the stuff I have nostalgia for, I can take a step back and see it from just outside of my POV and my bias. I can take my bias hat on and off. I understand a lot of people can't, but I can. And if it gets to the point to where
He's
there's
just
a
the chosen one, huh?
line, it's the what?
Yo, he's just the last airbender, Chad. I feel it.
Oh my!
When the world needed the best takes, he vanished.
Yo, Sage, I understand y'all can't, but I can.
I'm just saying, I don't know what y'all can do. I
Podcast.
guess maybe I'm just maybe I'm just trusting people to be too progressive with the game of basketball. I don't know. I just know that I envision myself, because right now I could do it. I can envision myself in 20 years if they add a 4-point line in 5 to 6 years, and then just beyond that, it gets so normal that now at the 4-point line, guys are just as efficient as the best shooters are now at the 3-point line. And the guys that are great shooters now at the 3-point line, if you stretch them to that distance, they're just not as efficient. I use Basketball Reference a lot. So if I don't see myself not doing that for basketball. I don't feel like I'm gonna just hit 40 and be like, hey man, this shit I've been doing my whole life with basketball, I'm gonna just stop doing it now. I get it, Sage, at the cookouts. Hey man, Unc don't want to do that. Unc gonna be gone when we Uncs. So we're the
Oh my
Unc.
God.
And
No,
if I'm gonna be the Unc, if my little cousins, my nieces, my nephews that talk about, they want to come around talking about some, who's really like that? Whip the phones out. Let's pull the numbers up if y'all really want to talk, because it's gonna get nasty over here.
And I'm gonna have to call bullshit. Not that you won't be the last NBA bender. Pause if needed. But I will just
Here you go.
But I will say, like, dead ass, bro. I know what the counter take would be instantly. So you would say that, okay, well, if James Harden the third is shooting as efficient as Curry would from the whatever feet, blah, 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 4-point line, cool. You know what they're going to say? The same shit that Jordan fans would tell you now, or Pistol Pete fans would tell you now. I mean, if the 4-point line was around and they grew up, then absolutely they could do it. That's a layup line. They're gonna say that either Curry would average even more right now, Kobe would average even more right now, or if they grew up in that area, they would do the same thing. Don't hate on us because they just didn't have the ability to do these things. They didn't have the ability to shoot from 4 at a high enough clip to where they were practicing it. Yada yada yada.
They look at the volume. They look at the volume on those like 4-point. Yeah.
They look at the volume from the distance. But again, if I'm an Unc arguing, because in this situation now, I'm the Unc arguing some other old nigga who obviously doesn't know basketball right now, and now I'm about to check his card. Because if you're trying to tell me as another old nigga, oh man, nah, if Steph grew up in that era, he'd be good with it. Nigga, Steph was the innovator of shooting deep threes. He practices deep threes. We're living in an era now of where we're watching Steph practice deep threes. You cannot have the he just didn't do it shit. No, they literally do it.
Nephew.
No, and he still practices from 40 feet. He still practices from super deep.
That's fine, but he ain't try. He ain't perfect that. What he did, he the greatest shooter of all time for this era, absolutely, nephew. But nephew, what I'm trying to tell you is if he saw the 4-point line and he was intentional with how many shots that he would practice there. Yes, I understand he practiced there, nephew, but he's gonna try to practice a little bit more. He's gonna try to do what he can more to be a more efficient player from even further beyond. And he's Steph Curry, greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life, nephew. See, you young niggas, bro, y'all pissing me off.
And you know what's crazy? You know what I'm gonna say? Nephew, don't listen to Uncle Curtis because he's an idiot. All right, Uncle Curtis is an idiot. He actually doesn't know basketball. Like, Uncle Curtis don't know what he's talking about. Nephew, listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Let me put you on game and whip these numbers out. Like, let me put you on game into who Steph Curry actually was. And that's your duty as an old head when it comes to the younger generation. You shouldn't sit around, criticize. You should do something proactive. Accept change and also let them know where the game came from. Do the shit humbly.
Now, when the numbers say Curry only took 2 4-pointers a game, because that's probably what the numbers gonna say. And then when Trae Young the third is making 5 4-pointers a game,
listen,
you gonna have to bring up warm-up footage. You haven't seen Curry's warm-up game. You don't know what he's capable of.
You have no idea how Steph Curry good. Oh my God! No, you just don't catch it.
Nah, bro. That's interesting though.